Hey, it's me. I'm back. Gonna do another retro video game system review for all you people out there in YouTube land. I'm gonna tell you about one of my favorite systems of all time that I still play, still absolutely love. It's fucking fantastic. I worked my ass off when I was a little young lad to get my hands on the beast. Sega! That's right. The original Sega Genesis. And I always, when I display this bad boy, I have my original Sonic the Hedgehog cartridge that I got with the machine. Oh yes. So good. So good. It is a bit of a dust magnet though. I had to clean this thing off quite a bit before I did this video, and it's still kind of got some schmutz on it. But it is what it is. This thing was a tough machine. It's fantastic. Brings all the happy feels. The controller, and I forgot to bring the controller down here to do this video. Very basic. You got your A, B, and C buttons. You know, your start button, all that jazz. It was functional. It did its job. I did have a few controllers burn out in the life of the Sega Genesis. I have had a few controllers burn out. I do have the original controller that came with this machine is still standing, still alive. And every replacement controller that I have purchased between the time that I received this system into my care to the time that is whenever you're watching this, the present time, the original controller with this machine that was packaged is the last man standing. The original controller. Okay? I had purchased several, what was it, the Interact brand, I think they were. There was a few off-brand controllers, replacement controllers. The reason why I was so interested in purchasing those ones is because they had a longer cord. This one that was packaged with this machine had a very short cord. I think it was like a 3-footer. 3 feet. It's very short. Very short. I had 6-foot cords on my controllers and all that stuff. This machine was originally packaged with just the one controller and Sonic the Hedgehog. This cartridge here that I've still got parked in there that I can fire up and play. And it's fantastic. It's one of my favorites. They had a very, very decent library of games. I found that I had both the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo. I had the Sega Genesis first. Absolutely loved it. Still absolutely love playing it. I am a little bit more particular on what games I play for this machine. The library was large, but it was kind of hit and miss, I find. Okay? Sonic the Hedgehog, I have always been a fan of the Sonic the Hedgehog games, alright? This bad boy right here, the original Sonic the Hedgehog, solid fucking gold. I will play this every damn time. Does it say the year on this thing? I think it was 1991, 92, maybe 93. Not entirely too sure. The original Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay? Fantastic. It was ahead of its time. It was great. Okay? Then you had Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which I was going to bring my stack of Genesis games down here and start flipping them out and showing you guys which is which. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I got it. It was great. Loved it. Still preferred the original. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, little different. Still good. Okay? Then they had a few other ones. The Sonic the Hedgehog was always a win. There were a few that I had for the Sega Genesis and still have. My Mortal Kombat, fantastic. Phantasy Star. It was an RPG game series that was specific for Sega. And it was great. If you get a chance, check it out. I have Phantasy Star 4 for the Sega Genesis. Is it 4? Phantasy Star something for the Sega Genesis. It's pretty damn good. I like it. There was a few of them. Rocket Knight Adventures was one of my all-time favorites. Mortal Kombat. There were several that I liked for the Sega Genesis. One that was really cool and revolutionary, and I did remember to bring it down. I forgot the controller and the stack of games I was going to bring, but this bad boy right here. I talked about this when I was talking about the Dreamcast. Yeah, that's right. Sonic and Knuckles. So you can play Sonic and Knuckles, its own game. Yes. You plug it in there. You fire away. Then, versatility. There's a thing on the top. What do? Oh, you plug in the other Sonic the Hedgehog games and you play the Sonic games as Knuckles. You can play Sonic 2 as Knuckles. You can play Sonic 3 as Knuckles. Yeah. It's a thing you can do. It's a thing you can do. Still one of my favorite Sega games of all time. Like of all time included. My two favorite Sonic games. Sonic the Hedgehog, the original. And this bad motherfucker right here. Whew. So good. Love this game. Knuckles is one of my favorite Sonic characters. My son and I get into debates. He's into Sonic. That's cool, man. To each their own. He likes Tails. Tails is cool. I usually enjoy the underdog, the side characters. When it comes to Mario and I play Mario with my kids, I'm one of the Toads. Fuck Mario. I'll be Luigi, man. I kind of like the underdog. I root for them. Knuckles, one of my favorite characters. Love playing as Knuckles. This game was revolutionary. Give it a spin. And some people said, oh, you can't play Sonic 1 in there, though. Oh, there's a method to it. You can't play Sonic 1 as Knuckles, but it does give you a play option. If you plug the original into this, you can do something with it. No spoilers, but it's cool. So, definitely check that out. It's so good. Love it. Love it. Actually, I should give you a live demo here. My original Sonic the Hedgehog. My Sonic and Knuckles. You literally just take the damn thing. Click. Boom! You want to play Sonic 2? You tired of Sonic 2 just being Sonic 2? Sonic 2 I had issues with. Definitely not my favorite. This was far superior in my opinion. But you beat Sonic 2, you're tired of it, you want to switch it up, plug it into this. Give it a spin, it's good. Sonic 3, same thing. Okay? Very good, interesting library of games, I'd say. If I had to compare this side by side with the Super Nintendo for the game library, sorry to say the Super Nintendo won out for me. They did. Mega Man X for the Super Nintendo. Are you really going to give that a side-by-side comparison with anything that's on the Sega Genesis? Sorry. They had Sonic. Any of the Sega titles were fantastic. They just did not port in as many games that stayed as relevant as Nintendo did for that era. Now, I'm not bashing the Sega Genesis, though. It's one of my favorite machines. But the library was lacking, for sure. But you had Sonic. Come on. You had a bunch of cool games for the Sega Genesis. It was fantastic. Mortal Kombat was better for the Genesis. It was. Straight up. Certain titles that were ported to both the Super Nintendo and the Genesis, they were better on one machine. It's true. And usually the Genesis would win out if it was multi-ported or whatever, right? Maximum Carnage. I had that. Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. Which one was better? I don't know. I still have my Maximum Carnage for Super Nintendo. I do not have it for the Genesis. I have my separation anxiety somewhere for my Sega Genesis Spider-Man game, just not my Maximum Carnage because it grew legs and walked off somewhere. But I do have my original Super Nintendo copy of it, the red cartridge, which was an amazing game. That's about it. All in all, the Sega Genesis. Sega! 16-bit system. Definitely worth a spin. The game library was hit and miss. You can't lose with Sonic. Unless it's Sonic 3D Blast, but we won't go on about that. Sonic Spinball was even not bad. Yes, I'll admit it, I liked Sonic Spinball. The first few levels were pretty alright. This bad boy in here, my absolute favorite Sega Genesis game of all time. This bad boy right here, my second favorite Sega Genesis game of all time. So good. So good. So, I'm not going to be rating these consoles. They all get a 10, in my opinion, for their participation. They all get a participation medal for being fucking awesome. Except for a couple of them. I'll explain the ones that I do not like when we cross that bridge. But yeah, Sega Genesis, 16-bit system, brings you all the 90s nostalgia, the feels, the good stuff, good times. Definitely check it out. If you're one of those retro gamers that plays, with the emulation and all that, I'm not going to hold it against you. Well, I am, but I'm just not going to say anything. Try it out. The 16-bit games were kind of touch and go with this system in particular. But Sonic the Hedgehog, you can't lose out with that one. It's good. It's classic. Fantastic. Part of my childhood. Absolutely loved it back then. Absolutely love it now. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. And if you haven't had the chance, because maybe you're a younger person who has never seen this ancient piece of technology, give it a spin. They have a mini version of one of these guys. Mini. It's a mini. I haven't played it. I wouldn't be bothered because I got the real thing. I got the real thing. But if you can track down one of those mini Genesis, I have heard there was one mini Genesis that was problematic and the controls were really glitchy on it. But there was one recent Sega exclusive, actual Sega machine that was a mini of this guy. Definitely give it a spin, try it out. The original Sonic the Hedgehog is packaged on that machine, if I remember correctly, with a few other ones that were fantastic. Give it a try. It's worth a spin, for sure. Just brought me back to my youth. Fantastic. Love it. And it is a tank, by the way. This thing has been dropped a few times. It still fires up like day one. Seriously. No problems at all with this thing. Oh! It's fucking with you. If I dropped it, I wouldn't even bat an eye. I'd seen it dropped off the top of a TV onto a floor with the game running in it. And it was still running the damn game. I just had to pop it back up there and it was fine. So, pretty good. The advantage of cartridge technology. It is pretty resilient, pretty rough, tough stuff. Takes a beating. Keeps on kicking, even this many years into the future. Thanks for watching my review. Hopefully you enjoy. Hit that like and subscribe button. Like button, subscribe button. Get your notifications. Hit that notification bell. Let me know what's going on. Talk to me in the comments there, people. And I'll be back with another something here pretty soon. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.